On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, the CMP sells shotguns. We were right about the Ghost Fleet. The DonRoe Doctrine. Everything is different now. Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Danny and Marky, and this is episode 391 of the John1911 Podcast. Today is Wednesday, January the 7th at 8:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, we have to timestamp stuff because things change so rapidly that the topics of our podcast are constantly changing. So in an effort to get out podcasts more frequently and topically in 2026, we are back. And so it's just Danny and I. Kraken is out on the ice. Didn't he say he was ice fishing or something for the week?
Yeah, he's going out ice fishing, and good luck to him. I mean,
Yeah.
he can have that. After working outdoors for 32 years, screw that.
Yeah, I guess a guy that used to drive a snowplow has no desire to do ice fishing.
No, none, zero.
That's
Zero.
awesome. That's awesome.
It's truthful.
Yeah, I mean, well, he said he's going to, Kraken's been working very hard with cameras and video cameras, and he's got this video camera that he can set it up and he can turn it on remotely. I don't know if he gives it the middle finger. It's something he does. Maybe he makes a hand gesture or something, but he can turn it on and do all this crap. So he's hoping to send us videos. Hopefully he catches Moby Dick out there, and we'll all be cool. So before we get into all the politics, it's going to be a politics and news heavy episode because you are ready.
I've got a chub just thinking about it.
Yeah, let me get the one piece of gun information out of the way.
You got to ruin everything. Go.
No, just get it out of the way. You're not anti-gun. You just, So apparently, CMP has announced in ancient history, 5 days ago, that there are going to be a surplus of shotguns run through their programs. So they have 2 locations in Alabama, 1 location in upstate Ohio at Camp Perry. That's where we go. I need to get up there anyway. Maybe I'll reach out to Doc and see if he wants to take a road trip. But, I don't doubt there's going to be any 1895 shotguns or anything like that. But maybe there'll be some 870s or maybe some 500s or Mossberg 590s. Who knows? Maybe some Ithacas. We'll see. It could be interesting. You never know what. I'm just curious. Is the CMP put out notice with the Department of the War? I'm sorry, the Department of Defense, the Department of War, and be like, "Yo, any shotgun you got on post, wrap it up and send it to Camp Perry." Because we're getting rid of them. I'm just curious. They popped up with those Krag rifles that we bought, and maybe something cool will come out of CMP with the shotguns. I will tell people though that they did say that there will not be any short-barreled shotguns. There were some other limitations too. They said they wouldn't surplus. They wouldn't do short-barreled shotguns. So no NFA, and I don't know. Maybe it was. I can't. There was some other restriction they put that they wouldn't surplus. So all right, we're okay. Gun stuff is done. Danny got through it. He held his breath. He's turning blue. What do you want to talk about first?
Actually, I was just wondering if they're going to have any Benelli tacticals. I'd like to horn in on one of those.
I'll tell you what. I was in a gun store 3-4 days ago, and they had a functionally brand new the M4 Benelli shotgun.
Right.
And they wanted, I think, $1,800 for it, and I was tempted to buy it. And that's that hot shit. It had the telescoping stock on it. It's the one shotgun that the military uses. I think they call it not 110. I don't know I can't remember what they call it. It's maybe they call it the M4, but we call it the M4 Benelli. And because it's imported, it's got the mag tube is limited, and so it's a semi-automatic shotgun. The mag tube's limited. There might be something else you have to change on it, but it's definitely a long-term 2-buy shotgun. And I didn't think $1,800. I mean, it was considered used because it had been transferred on a 4473, but it looked like whoever had this gun had never fired it, and it came in a big old black whatever case. and I mean, it was. I'm not saying it was a deal, but it wasn't overpriced at all. I mean, it came in a
No,
big old. Yeah,
because
it was.
well,
Yeah,
actually, 1800 is not that far off the list price.
yeah. Then, but the thing is, it would, and I hate to say this, but there's something to be said for me about a gun being in front of me because a lot of these
Yeah,
guns, yeah, you can.
you have no willpower. I'll buy it.
Well, okay, yeah, well, that is true. But it's like, you got to order it, you got to do this, you got to do that. I've got so many gun projects and things, and sometimes the gun projects work out, sometimes they go sideways, they get fucked up, they drag on for years. There's just something about a, something that's on the to buy or to acquire list. It's in front of me. It's right there. I don't have to fuck with it. I don't have to order it. I don't have to send paperwork. I don't have to coordinate. I don't have to just, and I got to, I'm going to pay, I'll pay up on it, but it's right in front of me and we just
Turn
put it in the collection.
you like it turnkey ready.
I do, I do. I do pay for convenience. I won't
Excuse me.
always pay stupid. I won't always pay stupid, but I have been known to pay stupid, like the AR-10, but that's kind of where we're at. So, all right. What do you want to do first? You want to do Maduro? Do you want to do the Ghost Fleet? Do you want to do this? You know what? Let's do let's do the shooting. Let's do the shooting today with ice because I don't know
Okay.
what the hell. I've been on the range and in the gym. I don't know shit from Shinola.
All right.
Tell me what the hell's going on with ice and this shooting,
All right.
and
Have
where
you?
was this?
It was in Minneapolis, and you have not seen any of the videos?
You know what? I don't know what I've seen. I've seen something where it looks like she's punching like just like a GIF and a headline on a website where she's punching it, and I guess they're shooting at her.
All right. Here's what happened. Of course, if you listen to the mainstream media, it's going to be, they're already calling the ICE agent a murderer, cold blooded kill, all this other stuff. But what they fail to say is that the woman that was shot was there for quite a while, and they've been after her to get out of the way, move your car, this, that, and all the other stuff. Well, finally, I guess it might have reached its heated point or whatever. They went over there and told her to get out.
Place
You
her under
know,
arrest.
yeah, yeah, we're going to take you out of the car. Well, she decided she put it in gear and she floored it. She floored it. Well, she clipped the agent and, hey, deadly weapons coming at me. I'm protecting myself. All right. Come to find out, last summer, this same agent was hit and dragged by a vehicle fleeing away. All right. The same exact guy. This is,
Wow.
yes, this is per Christy Nome. All right. So I could see why, hey, somebody's going to run me over again. No. And anybody knows with any kind of training, if somebody's coming at you with a deadly weapon, deadly force is justified. It's that simple. Well, what's going on is all over the liberal stations, they're saying, as I said earlier, he's a murderer, this and that, all this other type of stuff. They never give the entire story. But then the caveat to that is that in Minnesota, old Governor Tampon Tim is all over the airwaves begging the people, not like he didn't do with George Floyd, but begging the people not to riot, not to cause damage, not to just to only peacefully protest because
Yeah.
Trump will throw that insurrection act on my ass so fast you have never seen it happen faster. So he's sweating for some reason. I mean, he's really sweating when he hit the airwaves telling the people to be peaceful.
So I figured he would want to riot. Like maybe he's like, if they'll riot bad enough, maybe they'll make me a hero again, and I can get my political career back.
That's a good point, but I think he's worried about getting his comeuppance from the DOJ. That's just my
So,
opinion.
so is the media reporting that the woman who was killed? Are they reporting that she was armed or unarmed?
I have not heard anything one way or the other. The only thing she was armed with is at this point was a gas pedal.
A fully automatic Ford,
That's right.
an assault Chevy,
But
a tactical Toyota,
all right,
a 4,000 pound weapon.
right, right.
Now, is it? Now, I heard a blurb. I don't know if
But
this is true.
actually, it was a high power Honda.
Okay, hype, of course. So I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is true because first reports are almost always wrong. I've said that before in the podcast, and Danny's literally informing me. Is it true that the guy that shot her was able to hit her in the head 3 times? Is that true?
No, one shot, one kill.
No, okay, because I thought I heard a blurb saying that she got shot in the head 3 times.
Well, I
Did
was
she get shot? Did she get shot in the head?
yes, that I did hear. If it was three to the head, and if you watch the video, that man had the most fantastic grouping ever.
Okay, your
Because
microphone might be a little out of position. Almost seems like a little muffled, but
hey, hang on,
that's better.
is this
Whatever
better?
it was, that's a lot better.
All right.
So, well, I mean, he got a headshot in
He got a
like in
headshot as she
extremis.
was right as she was forcing it. So what I don't see in the video, and I wish I could, is was his weapon holstered? Was he that much of a quick draw? Did he have it in his hand already when she put it in gear? Did he have natural reaction? A whole lot, you know. But the whole bottom line is that hey, she put it in gear. She tried to run him over. He shot her. You know, and like I said, the part that the media is playing all over, he just outright shot her. He could have jumped more out of the way. Actually, one liberal announcer said, yeah,
Um,
you know, when somebody's coming at you with a car, and as you well know, I've been hit by a truck. And guess what? You don't have time to think. You really don't. You really don't.
yeah,
You react. You react. You don't
yeah.
dwell on the subject.
Well, I mean, so I saw some. Here's I did so like I know I'm kind of mumbling here. I did see a report that this woman, I guess, and this is gets in a whole separate conversation as to like these types of people. But I guess so. She supposedly saw them going down the road, and so she wasn't the target of this investigation. She decided to be.
She was running interference.
She decided to roadblock these people, federal
Cor-
officers,
correct.
and then she decided to hit one of them. And then it comes out that apparently her occupation is poet. And I'm like, oh, really? So she's a poet, is she?
Well, now
Well,
she's a
it's
poet, but
poetic
now she's a
justice.
well, now she's a poet, but don't know it.
So, I mean, now she's like, it's just like, like these. And is she a lesbian now? Is that true?
You
Her
know,
husband,
there's her husband apparently passed years back. You know, maybe I don't know if she's into the carpet munching or not. I've heard that. You know, but so many like you
she's young. She's young to have a husband who passed, right?
was
She's
young.
not 60.
No, no. Did you see the picture of her? I did. I almost sent
No,
it
I
to you. I
haven't.
didn't know if you had
Does
it.
she have like purple or pink or blue or green hair or some shit?
No, no.
Okay.
Actually, I I don't know if liberals show traits with their facial profile, but she looks liberal to me.
Piercings, nose rings. So, well,
No,
hold
no,
on.
not
So,
that bad.
so here's the other thing. So here's my question. So, okay, she's a poet. She has time. What time did the shooting take place?
I want to say this afternoon, early
So in the,
afternoon.
so in the middle of the workday on a Wednesday, she's out, not at her poet job, fucking with ICE agents. She's a widow, a
With a
young
little,
widow,
yeah, with a little boy.
and a little boy who's now in a lesbian relationship. And I can't help but
Allegedly,
wonder,
allegedly, allegedly.
allegedly, okay, so allegedly, somebody was there, I guess, they claimed whatever. And so it's like, okay, all right, and her husband died, and it's like, okay, well, how did her husband die? Because that's unusual. People, I think, are so jaded today that I'm going somewhere with this. They're so jaded today that they take death for granted, in the news, because a lot of the news, it's murder that kill, like it's MDK and 187. It's stuff doesn't make the news, especially all the deaths make the news. I mean, it depends, not all deaths, but a lot of the deaths make the
Right.
news. But people don't understand, like, for somebody under the age of 40, especially someone under the age of 35 or even 30, to die is pretty uncommon.
Yes, it
And
is.
so my question is, how old was her husband?
I don't
And how
know.
did he die? And it's like, I'm starting to wonder if, like, what kind of life these people live. She's a poet in the middle of the workday. She's out. Okay, she's apparently, did this child and this lesbian relationship that's claiming as her wife with they were all there. It's like, this
Excuse
is
me.
this is
Apparently,
this is
yes.
nuts.
Well, no, I want you to listen to what I really think is nuts. Within 15 minutes, there were 200 to 300 people in the middle of the workday protesting the whole situation that happened. Don't these fucking people have jobs?
No, they don't. They're on government assistance. They soak the system.
I mean,
They don't have fucking
they
jobs.
must have had, they must, you talk about,
They got Obama phones though.
yeah, how they all found out to get there. And then now the big thing the press is making, um, a big story about, and this only happened 4 blocks away from where George Floyd was murdered.
No, oh, okay,
That's
okay.
all. Yeah, that's their narrative now. And so Mrs. Danny said, "Well, what if it was 4 feet? What's the fucking difference?"
So okay.
You can just see her saying that too.
Here is, I am going to enact a little hubris here, and I'm going to put on my I Speak for America hat. Okay. So let me put this out in a way that makes sense to convey the idea. It's 2026, and the world is very different now. We've been through Ferguson. We've been through George Floyd. We've been through COVID. We've been through all the lies. We've been through the Russia stuff. We've seen, all the fakery, fake media spin bullshit. And at this point, unless you're basically like a radical communist that wants to burn America down, if you're out there playing crash bumper cars with armed federal agents in the middle of the workday and you die, nobody gives a fuck.
No, they don't.
Especially when your ass is white. Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, if you want to make
No,
it,
you're 100% correct.
if we all want to be raised, it's like the left is so interested in, like, race and racism, and everybody's racist. Okay, fine, I'll be racist against white chicks. Fuck you. Go home or wherever the fuck rock you crawled out from under, because that's what these dirty commies do, is they create crises and then they use it as an excuse to hurt people.
That's correct. That's a great segue into what I had mentioned a little earlier, but let's go a little bit more into depth in it. They use that to create their narrative for rioting, looting, this, that, and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference with this versus the George Floyd or whatever, why is Walt so adamant about them remaining peaceful and so continuously saying Trump will put the Insurrection Act on my ass. He knows
I
something, I think.
maybe I think Waltz. I mean, I can't prove this, and so I will publicly say that I can't prove it. But there were a lot of allegations against Waltz and his relations, his contacts with the Chinese Communist Party back in the
Right.
day, and I believe them. I tend to look. I can't prove them. I can't I'm not the person that decides whether he should go to prison or not. But it's like Waltz is so insignificant to me. I think so poorly of him, and I personally am of the opinion him coming out there and being like, "Hey, everybody, don't riot," winkety wink, wink.
I don't think it
It's
was
like
winking. I don't think he was winkety wink winking. I actually think that he's where his ass is going to get hauled in. And I think maybe he was told very promptly that the feds will put the Insurrection Act in that state. I really
maybe
think so.
I don't know all the particulars of what's the threshold to to invoke the Insurrection Act. Um, I mean, I've even heard people like I can't even actually at this point because I even confirm that there is an actual Insurrection Act. Like, because people say things like posse comitatus. Okay,
Right,
people
where I
pe-
know what
people
that is.
pe- people say things and they think it's true because they've heard it, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
This idea you can't use military for law enforcement in the United States. The fuck you can't. You know, like
Right.
the fuck you can't. Like, sure. Like it's called the Civil War.
Right.
Okay. Like, the military was all up and down them fucking schools. Those little black kids didn't get attacked, going to the segregated schools. Like, fuck they can't. Like, shut up. It's like when I hear somebody talking posse comitatus, to me, it's almost like when someone does like Occam's razor, because you can tell they don't know what they're talking about. It's something they saw in a movie
Right.
and they're stupid.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know about this Insurrection Act. And then
Well,
I think Waltz is a
maybe.
fuck. I think Waltz is a fuck. I
Well,
think
yeah,
that
we all
little.
do.
I think
But
that little pretty boy mayor up there, and that little
oh
whatever
my
that
God, I got a
city is.
story. I got a
I
story
get.
on him too.
I am certain he's probably coming out winkety wink. Let's not have a riot or shit. For all I know, he's out there fucking with a Molotov cocktail.
No, he's basically telling he went on the news today and looked right in the camera and said he's telling the federal agencies to get out of his city or he's going to take action. He
What is
said
that? Oh,
that,
really? You're
yeah,
gonna take action, huh?
yeah, I want to see what
Really?
he's going to
You're gonna take action? Like what was the?
do.
Like that reminds me.
Yeah, ask Madero about threatening action.
Yeah, it's like, it's like the major that's on, Battery B, across the bay from Fort Sumter, telling the Union major, "You better get the hell out of South Carolina, or I'm going to take action." It's like, "Oh, you are, huh, bitch?" It's like we're going to see, you will see where this ends up. I mean, it's like I look, I have. How do I say this? On the last podcast, I said something, and I mean it. And it's so strikingly different than what the person I was, say, even like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Like the idea, like I like Bill Barr. And I realize a lot of people don't like Bill Barr, but I like Bill Barr. I kind of, like, Bill Barr's my kind of guy, because I believe in the system. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in kind of like, a lot of the process, believe in the process and all that. But shit is so out of control, and these commies are so dirty, and government is so corrupt, and the media covers for them. Even someone like me on the last podcast, Matt Gaetz is a piece of shit. And I'm like, please make him attorney general. And I'm at the same point now with this kind of stuff. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of the riots and the violence and the double talk from the media. If the mayor of this bullshit town in this bullshit state, wherever they're fucking from, I don't even know these states north of me, like Wisconsin, Minnesota. They're all the same. Whatever this fucking guy is, if as far as I'm concerned, there's a blue hat on the wall for me, 4 feet from my head. I'll put that blue hat on and I'll go up there and clean these commies out myself. Like, if that's what it's going to come down to in this country, that's what it's going to come down to. I don't want this to happen. I'm a Bill Barr guy. But I feel like the other side keeps coming. And they keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and like at some point, it's like, okay, fuck all of you.
It's going to
You
reach
know
the head.
what? It's just like, it's like, it's like Venezuela. The
Right.
bullshit Venezuela, the shit Venezuela does, they fucking cozy up. The fucking Russians fucking put their nuclear bombers down there. The Chinese are getting a bunch of shit from there. They're all running the Ghost Fleet ships. And I warned everybody in the last podcast. I was like, that Ghost Fleet thing's going to be a big deal. No one was talking about it, but we were talking about the Ghost Fleet. Now, all of a sudden, the Ghost Fleet's a big deal because it's all wrapped into Ukraine and Iran and sanctions and North Korea. And then you're dealing with some of these other countries in Africa and, all these people that want to talk about, again, these commies, they want to talk about international norms and international law and all this and sanctions but we're gonna put a blind eye to like everybody running these sanctions. And
Yep.
so, people on the other side can keep, killing each other, threatening the United States, and we have to pay for everything. And it's like, at this point, it's like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck Maduro. Fuck Venezuela. Fuck Minneapolis. Fuck Putin. Fuck Iran. It's like, you know what? And like, if Denmark doesn't get their shit fucking together, fuck Iceland. Like, I'm just to the point now. I've just had it. I've
Well,
absolutely had it with all these fuckers. It's
well,
the same thing.
since you were tied up today, I don't know. Did you see the Chinese government came out today and demanded that the U.S. Release Maduro?
I demand.
They
I
demanded.
demand.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
you know what?
you ain't gonna
You know
demand
what?
shit from Trump.
Well, you know what? You know what? Okay, okay. You know what I tell the Chinese? You know what I tell the Chinese?
Go fuck yourself.
No. You know what I tell the Chinese? What's the name of the ship that the North Koreans still have that we've never taken off the rolls?
The
Is it the
the
Pueblo?
the Pueblo.
Yeah, the Pueblo. Like, you know what, China? Tell North Korea to release that fucking ship. Suck my dick. Like, I am so fucking just not in the mood.
You know,
And Trump isn't either. Like,
no,
you can just tell, like, the world is different now.
that's
We're
it.
going back to power politics. Like, I heard the Secretary of State, was it yesterday or the day before, talking about how corrupt the UN is. The UN is, again, I'm a Bill Barr guy, okay? And there's people listening to this podcast that are like, go get a Marky. And it's like, you and I are not on the same page, but it's like, okay, and this has been realized for a while. The UN, as it currently exists and is structured, is corrupt, ineffectual, and useless. Because FDR, they decided, like, if you just look at the UN, and this seems like I'm going off on a tangent here, but no, this is all related. Okay, the permanent 5 members of the Security Council of the United Nations. Okay, the permanent 5. There's UN. The Security Council runs the UN. Let's just be clear here. Yeah, there's the Secretary General, but the Security Council runs the UN, the permanent members. U.S., Russia,
Russia. Great.
China, Great Britain, and France.
Correct.
Okay? So now, when China was originally on the list, I think it was actually Taiwan. Like, it wasn't even, we didn't let Red China, I think, be on. I think we Republic of China, we let Taiwan be on it. And okay, and like let's just be honest here. In today's world, okay, if you look at the world, you can look at the world in two ways. You can look at the world in terms of, and again, this is what all the hippies want to do, and this is fine. I don't disagree with this. But, the free world, Western civilization, modernity, you could even say, what about democracy? Okay?
Well, they hate that word.
And well, no, and an argument can be made, and it has been made that the UN needs to be destroyed. And I don't mean that like in violent ways, but
No,
the idea of the UN needs to go away. And the reality is, you need to have a group of basically free and democratic countries that can form an organization that can come together and work together. Why? The UN can't do this because Russia stops it. The UN can't do that or won't approve this because China stops it. Or we have temporary members like is fucking Somalia now like the honorary chairman like because it's the chairman of the Security Council rotates and now like Somalia like these crazy fucking it's like this is a joke. Like the
yes, it
whole thing
is.
is a joke. The only advantages we have to the UN is the fact that it's in New York and we can spy on everybody.
But we pay
We
for
can't.
every.
Can't say that out. We can't say that out loud.
We pay for most of it. Oh, we
Well,
pay for all those other countries too.
I think we pay more than anybody else,
Well,
but
that's
I
why
don't think we
Trump
pay.
said no more of that shit. The spigot's shut off. We'll
But
pay
it's
our
like,
share.
but the idea of like, but okay, like you remember what was the guy's name? Who was the guy that was real famous for being against the UN back in the day? He used to like send out flyers.
An
What
American?
was yeah, like in the 70s and 80s, like there's Ron Paul and then John Birch Society. You remember John Birch Society?
Yes.
Yes. And like they were all anti-UN and all this. And like here's how out of control the world is. The Secretary of State of the United States and members of the cabinet, the senior members of the cabinet, are basically talking that the UN sucks and needs to be destroyed or needs to be just defunded.
Are you thinking of
You,
Ross Perot?
no, I don't think Ross Perot was ever actually really against the UN, but Ross Perot, history is going to judge him pretty well as
I would
far
say
as
so
like
too.
tariffs and trades and a giant. Remember that giant sucking sound is a jobs leaving America.
That's right.
That giant sucking sound, And I remember he came out and they made fun of him too. Like, remember this one? Like, and I look at this. This is a good example of like how the media lied. And you and I are old, so we can kind of remember. We remember this stuff. Do you remember he was running for president, and it was a three-way race between him and Bill Clinton and George Herbert Walker Bush. And the argument is because of him, George Herbert Walker Bush lost. And
Bust.
there's a legitimate argument to be made for that. But what happened was he started getting he got about 20% of the vote. And most of the people that voted for him were probably Republicans. But I remember at the very end, he talked about like dropping out of the race or doing this because he said Republican operatives are coming to try to disrupt my daughter's wedding. They're trying to go after my family. And like, the media kind of like laughed at him and made up all this shit. And he was like, they kind of went after him and he decided to get out and put it behind him. And now you look back, like remember when Trump was like, "Oh, they're tapping my wires." Remember when Trump said that when he was running in 20? He wasn't
Yep.
president yet, and he's like, "They're tapping my wires." And literally, I remember watching these people on these in New York and these news stations, literally laughing on national television at Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump, he's so ridiculous. Like nobody's quote tapping your wires. And by the way, Donald, it doesn't actually work like that anymore. Haven't
Yeah.
you ever heard of technology? Har, whatever, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it was, oh, by the way, yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were. They
They
Watergated
were.
his ass.
They were not only tapping all the phones and the cell phones, they were monitoring the servers. And it's like, so okay, and so here's the thing. And this is before COVID. This is before, why is it a China virus? And this is before all the, 7 days to slow the spread, and all the lies on the side effects, and the media coming after us, and like all that. Like you were talking about shit with your family and the vaccine, and they fucking whacked us.
Yep.
And so now I'm supposed to give a fuck about what some dirty commie TV talking head in some fuck state north of me has to say about an obviously justified shooting. The only thing I care about this shooting is I want to give the ICE officer a medal for a good headshot. I'm like, damn, really? Because I heard it was 3. I'm disappointed it wasn't 3. I'm like, okay, maybe he'll get it. Maybe I'll give him a gift certificate to the Rustler if he just got one headshot. But if he got 3 of them, motherfucker, you getting a medal. As far as I'm concerned, seriously, these crazy fucking bitches have to. This is dangerous. Like, the alternative is the officer gets killed.
Correct. Well,
Well,
that's it.
I mean, if you're gonna make me choose between an ICE officer and this woman who has no business in doing all this stuff with her family and her kids and her lesbian, all this fucking crazy shit, inserting her, it's not like they came to her house, inserting herself into this, and she gets killed. Dude, I'll take the ICE officer every day, even if the ICE officer is an asshole that I don't like,
I agree with you.
personally.
I think most of Americans would. I'm going to bring up a point really quick. You take Minneapolis, New York City, LA, a couple others. Why doesn't this shit happen in Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia? Why aren't they protesting, attacking ICE officers down there? Because the local
Um,
police support them.
yeah, and some of it is too, it's because of your media. Like, now, okay, hold on. Let's be real. So in Cincinnati, it's a reflection of your media and your media outlets. In Cincinnati, we've had a couple incidents here over the past year. One of them this week, where we had some people came to Cincinnati. It made national news, but then it just kind of petered out because people didn't like where it was going. And supposedly these Nazis showed up. Were they Nazis or Ku Klux Klan? I can't remember. No one even fucking remembers. They showed up at some overpass and supposedly blocked an overpass, and they're holding their own bullshit little fucking signs. And it was like the radio trap people. The cops are like, yeah, there's people out here fucking protesting, and then the media took this and tried to make this into a big story. And then they kept talking about it. And for weeks they kept talking. And the story had died because the cops, at one point, these people who had shown up in a box truck, they were telling the police because people were surrounding them. And they were like, hey, can you just escort us back to our cars? And they're like, cops are like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess we can. We don't want anybody killing you. We don't want you killing anybody else. So we're keeping you two separated. So they followed him, get on radio, yeah, we're gonna take him, follow him back. They're all parked over, whatever. Cops had no idea who these people were, and but there's body cams and dash cams, and these people some of them look like they were Democrats. They did not look like fucking Nazis. They looked like, and they were from California. One of them was from California. And it was like, what the fuck false flag fucking bullshit was this? And Channel 5 and Channel 9 and Channel 12 in Cincinnati. And it's not just Channel 5, 9, and 12 like the talking heads. They tried to spin it, but you'll notice, and you'll notice this in your market too. If you're listening to this, I don't care if you're in Denver, if you're in San Francisco, or whether you're in Roanoke, Virginia. Okay? There'll be some kid or an adult who runs your local news station's social media. And what will happen is there'll be the talking head talking the headline. And they'll report the facts on the Nazi story because it's a story. And then what the little social media guy will do, who's probably a commie, he'll take that story, he'll link to it to their website, but then he'll put a little caption above it. It'd be like, Cincinnati full of Nazis, or Nazis on the
Oh yeah,
rise.
right.
Or he'll do things like, were the police involved? Like, what did the police know?
Clickbait.
And it's like, and he's writing these fucking captions, getting everybody all fucking. And I'm telling you, I saw this shit happening here. And I saw it with the Nazi thing. There was a protest on a bridge. This made national news here too. This one happened. There was a protest on a bridge, and these fucking hippies got fucking out of control and started fighting with these cops on this bridge, on this pedestrian bridge over the Ohio River. And this cops are beating the fuck out of these people because he didn't want to get thrown over the fucking bridge into the river. We've had police officers die getting thrown in that river.
Well,
25 fucking pounds of gear on.
well,
And
weren't they fighting on the bridge? But they had just stepped over into the Kentucky line or something.
yeah, most of the Ohio River actually belongs to Kentucky. It's a Supreme Court ruling. Most people don't know that. Like, I think Ohio has like 10, 15 feet of it, and the rest of it technically belongs to Kentucky.
Right.
Because Kentucky existed before Ohio.
Well, I seen that up. I seen that up here on the news.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, but the thing is, what you would see their social media dudes, these little fucking bullshit commies, and they would take that story, then they put a little caption on their Facebook, be like, whatever provocative little sentence or two, and then a link to the story. And you start noticing this, because I look at media, because we're a media company. We're a small media company. And I'm like, you dirty fucking commies. And, I'm just to the point now, I see the hustle. I see the lie. I see the spin. And it's like, okay, all right. You just keep fucking doing it. I'm looking over at that blue hat on my wall. When I say blue hat, by the way, if people don't get the reference, I'm talking to the Union hat versus the Confederate hat. I'm like, okay, all right, commies, I'm going to put the fucking blue hat on and we're going to do this again.
Yep. Well, the point that you just made is very well taken, because just think of this: as soon as they snatched Madero, how many of these mainstream media stations said, and they had their little snippet sound bites, it's going to escalate into the war, boots on the ground, there's going to be a draft, every other thing. You know what I mean? Remember the Lusitania? And they took it and ran with it. Same
Sure they
way.
did. Oh, dude,
Same
I
thing.
remember. I remember the first time we invaded. We invaded. We invaded Iraq the first time? The media was convinced that we're going to have 50,000 casualties on our side.
Yep, I
Yeah,
remember that.
maybe. I mean, I didn't know if that was true or not. Maybe it was the second. Maybe it was the second, and maybe that was maybe that was 2003. But it's like, okay, it's like there. I mean, people don't ever get held accountable for what they say. They just say all kinds of crazy shit. Then we get to move on and pretend they didn't say it. It's like, well, wait a minute, you don't have credibility here.
True.
Like I actually kind of gotten into a little snit with somebody about this. And this is in reference, and I don't want to name this person because there's no reason, there's nothing productive about it. But there's a person locally who is a news anchor. And when I describe this person, I'm describing every news anchor in every city.
Correct.
Person has been around a while. Person's attractive. Person is are you under missile attack? Um
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm good.
Uh
Okay, go
the
ahead.
person is attractive. Person is a news anchor. Person is got credibility and all this and is perfectly nice. The person is even probably on paper is like a Republican even on some level, like or agrees with me on a lot of things. But here's the problem. This person works for one of the alphabet news agencies.
Right.
And I say this and I mean it. If this person showed up at my house,
Yeah.
I wouldn't let this person in my house. And that pisses people off. But you don't understand this news, this woman, she's this and she does that and she supports this. It's like, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. If she worked for the Nazi Party, and she was wearing instead of her wearing a CBS fucking uniform, she was wearing a Nazi uniform, and she showed up at my door, and I was like, "Fuck you! You're not allowed in my house, Nazi with that fucking uniform." People would be understand that. Well, I'm of the same opinion now. NBC shows up at my house. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck who you are. Because even if you could literally be my twin, you could be Marky working at fucking ABC. Be like, I got you. We're gonna tell the truth. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna get it all right. We're gonna tell your side of the story. And you know what's gonna happen? Sure thing, dude. As soon as your producer gets a hold of it, as soon as New York gets a hold of it, as soon as your board gets a hold of it, it's all going to change. As soon as your little faggot, commie, goddamn social media guy on Facebook puts a little bullshit, two-line, provocative piece of shit sentence above the link to your website about a story that you were going to tell the truth on, it's like, I mean, everything is broken with media. Everything like we are in a completely different age here, and I don't think people are starting to realize it, but people are not really realizing it. America's relationship with the world is changing, and America's relationship with institutions is changing.
Yes, it is. Well,
We're
it's exactly like Trump says, fake news.
What's even more than that. Donald Trump is like, because we're stupid. Like, don't be stupid. We're not going to be stupid. Like, okay, why does Donald Trump want Greenland?
Strategic.
I know, but that's a word. What does that mean? Why?
All
What
right.
gets us to that word?
Well, because in that part of the world, we could have air bases, missiles, this, that, all the other things for Russia and all points east.
So, all right. So here's a little history on Greenland. So we've been interested in Greenland for people talk about like Greenland relative, to the U.S. for like, oh, Truman wanted Greenland, and that's true. In World War II, we basically occupied Greenland when the Nazis overran Europe, and actually the Nazis, I think, secretly did put a weather station on Greenland that no one found until like I think 10 years ago. Like they had secretly somehow landed some guys there and like were giving weather reports back to the Nazis. It's very interesting. But we basically took over Greenland because we couldn't let the Nazis get up there. And so when you look at a map of the Atlantic, just the Atlantic from America to the Atlantic and then to Europe, you've got Greenland, you've got Iceland, and you've got the UK, then you've got the English Channel, then you've got France. And then above that, you get into the Baltic states, the Baltic Seas, Northern Europe, and then above that, you get into like Murmansk and the Russia Northern Fleet or the Arctic Fleet, and where they keep their boomers, their nuclear submarines or nuclear missile submarines, and they are under the Arctic ice. Okay, and so in a war with the Soviet Union, what was the first thing that was going to happen is the northern Russian fleets are going to try to break out of their northern bases. And then we are going to try to stop them. And that's why we have SOSUS lines, and the Navy was all built up in, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, built up, if they're going to surge all these subs and surge all these warships, and we're going to be fighting them, not on the English Channel side, we're going to be fighting them between, the water off of Ireland, from Iceland and Iceland to Greenland, okay? And that was going to be a big battle zone. And so we even always had an Air Force base up there called, and it's gone now. I think they've renamed it. They brought it back, but they've renamed it because I think it belongs to Space Force now. I haven't looked, but it used to be called Thule Station. Okay, and Thule Station, there was a big airstrip there. B-52s and bombers could fly up there. Air tankers could fly up there. And if you look at Iceland or Greenland relative to like a globe, you realize Iceland one, you can kind of patrol the North Atlantic from both sides. You can get to it from England and Iceland and from Greenland, and control that to the east and the west. But then to the north, you're getting into the Arctic, and it's not long at all to get from Greenland to all these northern Russian bases, the missile fields and some of their research facilities and their, like their boomer base up there, Murmansk. Is that Murmansk? Yeah.
Yes.
Is that Murmansk up there? Uh, and so one of the things that we've always had, as we've had at Thule Station, is basically there was always this understanding, and people don't want to talk about this, but it's true. And one of the things we always wanted to watch out for was if Thule Station ever went offline, which is in Greenland, if Thule Station ever went offline, that meant the Russians were coming. It's like, what does that mean?
It'd be a
Thule
first.
Station,
They'd be a first
it,
strike.
it'd be a first strike. The Russians have to take out Thule Station. Okay? They have to take it out because it's too close. It gets behind them. They have to. It's the first thing that has to go. And everybody kind of knew this. If Thule Station goes offline, there's a major like heaven help you if it's like, well, just a polar bear chewed the phone cable. It's like, well, I mean, you better have more than one cable, because it's like if Thule Station goes offline, it's a big, trust me, phones are ringing. We can't get a hold of Thule Station. This is in the 50s and the 60s. Like, this is like a big deal. Okay? And so that's always been there. Now, here's the thing. In today's political climate, with everything that's going on with the Russians invading South Ossetia in Georgia and Abkhazia in Georgia, everyone's forgotten about that. The snatched Crimea. They did all the shit in eastern Ukraine, and then they've done the second invasion in Ukraine, the shit they're trying to pull in Moldova. They've got their eye on the Baltics. There's even in the Baltic Sea, there's an island between the Baltics and, is it Sweden? Or for me, it's Sweden. I mean, it's Finland. That's where they come. But there's an island, Sweden. There's an island that sits in the middle. It's a big island, and it's traditionally belonged, I think, to Sweden. And like, there haven't been, really a military presence on the island since the 90s. I mean, it's like maybe 15 square miles or something. It's not huge, but it's not really small. And the thing is, it's in the middle of this Baltic passageway. Well, the Swedes have basically now started permanently stationing troops on the island. They started doing this about 2 years ago. And the reason is they're afraid all of a sudden one day Russian airborne troops are going to show up. They're going to grab the fucking island, and it's going to be, what are you going to do, have a nuclear war? And we're having the same issue with Greenland today. I haven't looked lately, but I know that the Chinese have been sniffing around Greenland. I think they've got some kind of like space radio shit or research shit up there. And, everything is a dual use up there. And we don't like that. And that's why we didn't like all the shit in Venezuela. And here's the other thing. It's like, okay, so Greenland, we've been interested in Greenland, Thule Station in Greenland, all this other stuff in Greenland. You've got our relationship with NATO is not great because NATO has not been paying their fair share. That's not a talking point. That's the truth. Trump was right when he first said it in his first term. We covered it. We published about it. And then it's like all this shit going on in Ukraine and all this money and all this whatever. And a lot of these countries are still not paying their fair share. We're basically fronting all this so all these European countries can have their social welfare programs and trash their fucking cultures and have open borders. And they're going to, and it's like, bitch, we want fucking Greenland.
Are you thinking of
And
are you thinking of the Faroe Islands?
no, it's not the Faroe Islands. It's like Sevesta something, Sevestikland Island or whatever. There's people that live on. You mean in the Baltic? Yeah,
Yeah.
but but the thing is, like, the Chinese are sniffing around up there, and and here's the other thing. Like, okay, let's just have a real conversation about Greenland. Like, I don't know exactly today what the status of Greenland is, but I know just a few years ago, Greenland was basically a colony of Denmark. And you're like, what does that fucking mean? It's like, what
I
do you mean they
mean,
were a colony? Well, they weren't sovereign colonial. Well, sovereign's probably not the right word because when you find out, they're not like Denmark. They're they actually it's property that's owned personally by the Danish royal family. It's super weird. There's only 30,000 people live on this big fucking thing. This thing is 3 times bigger than Texas.
I know it is,
Okay, and
but a lot of
it's
it's inhabitable also.
yeah, yeah. Well, so is Alaska, but we do a lot with Alaska. And, it's like it's owned by the Danish royal family. It's like it's their personal property. Kind of like when the King of Belgium owned Congo. Like Congo, the Belgian Congo wasn't a colony. The Belgian Congo was personal property of the King of Belgium. And they did all that crazy shit. And nobody says boo about this weird shit up there. And so let me just make this point. Like, it's like, what are we saying? Denmark's a small country, or whoever, Greenland. Say the Chinese want to put a naval base up there. They want to pay a lot of money. I mean, like the Russians probably politically couldn't get away with it, but you know what? The Russians are like, we're going to pay you more money. We want to put a listening post up here for satellites. We want to put a monitoring station. We want to put this. We want to put a naval base. We want to build a port, do whatever. At what point does America go, fuck you? This isn't happening. Are we stupid? Are we going to be a stupid country, or are we not? Because that's the argument Donald Trump's making. We're tired of being stupid.
That's it.
NATO isn't even paying their fair fucking share. We have veto power over fucking Greenland. We always have. And, it's like, I don't think we should militarily take Greenland unless we have to. And I don't mean because they won't give it to us, but basically, hey, yeah, it's yours. Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry. Like, I mean, I don't know what else but like the world's going to be different now. And
Yeah.
we're going to get back. The post World War II era is over. This idea of like all these countries that are not superpowers that get to have a say and they get to wreck everything and make everything complicated and everything hard. It's like, no, we're not doing this anymore. I mean, it's like, I could easily see an argument where Trump makes an argument where he's like, okay, you want me to keep putting money and weapons into Ukraine? I want Greenland.
Yeah. He could Guantanamo Bay their ass. Little
I don't know what
nice
that.
little section for us. You have the country, but we're strategically here.
Well, no, we're already strategically there. We've
That's
got
what
Thule Station or Puffick Air Force Base or whatever it's up there. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's, I
there's a
mean,
lot going on.
there's a lot. There's a, the world is free trade and shipping functions because we let it happen, because we pay for this giant navy that we can't afford and we can't even build ships, and everybody's cruising on our back.
Yes, they are.
And
I
and
was
like, and here I got two more theories here because I want to make this official to get it on the podcast.
Go on.
Two theories. Number one of the theories you can make for Donald Trump invading Venezuela is kind of going after BRICS, because there's these people that are like, BRICS is coming and they're going to get off the dollar and all this and all that. It's like, well, okay, Venezuela collapses, Cuba's going to collapse possibly because they're supported. Oh, there's rumors that the Ayatollah of Iran's making plans that if they lose control, he's going to evacuate to Russia. Have you seen those reports?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did because
And it's like,
he's worried that after he's seen what they did to Maduro,
yeah, and they're like, well,
he's worried
apparently
about that.
he's worried in the cities. Apparently, in some of the places, the police are like on the side of the protesters. Like
Right.
there was a report yesterday or the day before, supposedly they had lost control of one of the cities. Now, I think the city that they lost control of probably is having a water problem. I know where the city is. It's near the border with Iraq. But, it's like, well, there's the whole BRICS theory, okay? But I have another theory, and I want to get this out. And this is not my theory. I mean, I came up with it, but it's not something I believe, but I war game stuff in my head. This is going to really piss off a lot of people from the United Kingdom. This is going to really piss you off. So get ready.
Who cares?
So I'm going to speak in hyperbolic and very generic terms. If the UK continues down the path that it's obviously on of a cross between socialism, fascism, with what they do, they're putting people for jail for how they talk. They tax people to death. They're letting crazy Muslims come in
Right.
and rape, take over their cities and rape all their women and do all the shit to these kids, and they're going to lay down and die. You could make an argument that the future of Europe, if England is gone, if France is gone, Germany's gone, they're having issues in Sweden, Eastern Europe is holding strong, you could make an argument that we can still protect Europe and do business with like-minded Europeans from Greenland and let England fall. If England's going to turn into a caliphate, this is how out of control things are in the world. So I saw somebody, I was a talk, and they obviously didn't understand history, and they gave an example of somebody giving up nuclear weapons and how great it was. And they were talking about South Africa. And they were like, South Africa had nuclear weapons and they gave them up. And it was such it was all this, it was great for humanity. We can do this. South Africa did it, whatever. And they tried to hook in Nelson Mandela because when they think of South Africa, they think of Nelson Mandela and whatever. And these people, they look at South Africa of what it was and what it was a long time ago versus what it is now. South Africa is turning into a failed state. It's turning into a hellhole. And it's being taken over. It's been taken over by communists and racists, black supremacist racist people. Okay.
Yes, it is.
And unfortunately, and I'm about to say, I'm not saying I agree with these people on what their philosophy, but it seemed obvious to the people that ran South Africa when apartheid was in place that they were no longer going to be in charge. So they decided, if we're not going to be in charge, can we trust these new people that are going to come in with nuclear weapons? And they had decided on their own, it's obvious, they were like, no, we're going to dismantle this nuclear program because we can't trust them with nuclear weapons.
Nope.
And nobody wants to fucking admit that.
Well, that's the truth, though.
It is truth. And it has nothing to do, people will make it about race, and it's nothing to do with race. It's this communism, this destructive grievance, whatever group. It's no different than like this woman, like the woman who she's the new director of like something with apartments or tenants in New York City. She's this white girl, and she's talking that home ownership is a structure. Home ownership, she's literally says home ownership is a mechanism of white supremacy.
Yes, I've seen that.
And then it turns out that she grew up and went to these really expensive schools. Her mother is a wealthy professor, lives in a $1.4 million house, gentrified, and now moved to Nashville, and now she's crying, and it's like these because it's just Donald Trump's. These people are stupid. There's just stupid people, you know. And this woman that I'm capping on in New York, she's not black. Like I'm not talking. This is this communist, this dirty commie grievance. We're gonna. It's like she not only doesn't like. She's even made comments like she wants to hurt white people. And never mind, she's white, which is weird. But like she wants to take homes from white people, and she wants to stop private home ownership because it's just all about communism and destroying everything. And it's like at some point, and I'm going to put a bow on this because I promise I'm going somewhere with this. Somebody like Donald Trump has come along, and he's basically like, "Fuck you, dirty commies in Venezuela. Fuck you, dirty commies in Europe. Fuck you, dirty commies in the UN. Fuck you, dirty commies in New York City. We're not going to be stupid anymore, and we're gonna do what's best for America, and we're gonna do what's best for freedom and democracy. And the rest of you can suck my dick." And I don't know what the future of this is going to look like, but I promise you right now, history books are going to be talking about Donald Trump 1,000 years from now. Maybe they'll be talking about him in terrible ways, like it was the beginning of the Great Nuclear War, or maybe it was the beginning of the Great Golden Age. I don't know. But it's like obviously Donald Trump has come along, and he's the trade policy, foreign policy, military policy, defense policy, all of it. Like, have you noticed? Like people, I'm surprised at how much shit's going on right now, and people like, okay, Minneapolis. Like today, it's Minneapolis. Yesterday, it was Maduro, and tomorrow it'll be like people don't want to be like, wait a minute, you don't see everything is fucking out of control.
Yes. Every day
I
it's a
don't
new
know.
headline.
Yeah, but it's like every day people get amnesia, and it's like they're not realizing like it's not just what's out in front of you that's out of control. It's the whole world is changing.
That it is.
This Eurocentric, we have to take it, we have to apologize. We have, I'm like, I don't know. I think it's super interesting. And as much as it surprises me to say this, like, I don't think Donald Trump's made a mistake yet.
Nope. That's why they hate him the way they do. Because he tells people to get fucked. And they don't like that. He's not a politician. That's why they hate him. The Democrats' big push now is to take the House in the midterms by one seat so they can impeach him.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
that's their big push now. But I don't think Democrats only have a 14% approval rating, so they might,
Well, if
what,
like,
what,
I mean, again, I'm obviously a Trump supporter, and I'm obviously a conservative. So what I'm saying is people can dismiss it out of hand because what I'm about to say I hope is true. But a lot of people are starting to predict that they think 2026 economically is going to start to really be a much better year.
I hope so.
And if it's a much better year and all this shit starts working with these tariffs and jobs and industry and things coming to America, I mean, I'll tell you what, like it's crazy. That truck I just bought, that Grenadier thing,
Oh, the
the
one that's in the
the
shop?
it's not in the shop. It's in the freaking barn right here next to me. It's not the shop. Shut up. That company is literally I mean, they've publicly stated this, and again, you can't take this at face value because it's negotiating and posturing. But they have a big factory in France on the German border. It used to be a Mercedes-Benz factory. And then there's the tariffs and all this. And then the EU wants to, again, shit doesn't work anymore. And the EU wants to get rid of all these gas-powered cars. And Ineos, that makes this truck, they're talking about putting a factory in the U.S. And a lot of the people that are into this vehicle, they're little fanboys, which is fine. And they're like, oh, they could get a factory in the U.S. We could get a U.S. factory, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't know if that's going to happen. They don't sell enough of these to justify two factories. And how much would it cost to build a factory here? $1 billion, $2 billion, $5 billion? I don't know. It could be a lot, but it's not going to be. It's not something you can do in 5 minutes, and it's not going to be $100 million. It's $1 billion to build a giant ass car factory, and then not only that, you have to get all your your vendors. Like, where are you going to get the tires? Where are you going to get the metal for the hood? Who's going to make, like all this has to be done over, but they're talking about doing this. Like, if they don't get, if the EU doesn't get their head out of their ass on some of this electric car stuff, Porsche will have to move to the United States. And if all these companies move to the US, we're set, dude. Again, just like I was talking about, everything else is changing. This is changing. And again, Donald Trump changing everything. Like, it's not just Maduro, and it's not just the ICE agents rounding up illegals. It's the cars. Donald Trump is going to tell Europe, yeah, you guys can do whatever you want with your faggoty little cars and your bullshit battery fucking golf carts. But if you want to sell that in America, then our V8 gas powered engine is automatically homologated and legal in Europe everywhere. And if you don't do that, fuck you, because it's not free trade; it's fair trade, and it's like, okay, so the EU has a problem. They're like, they want to make everybody buy these bullshit cars, but if they can buy a V8 American car, they're all going to buy the V8 American car in Europe. They don't want these fucking things. And again, Venezuela, Iran, trade policy, defense policy, the United Nations, Greenland, China, like everything. Donald Trump, like, it's unbelievable what's going on all the time. Like, it's all the time. Donald Trump does more in 2 weeks. Donald Trump has done more, for good or ill. I'm not going to pass judgment on it. We'll see how it goes. Donald Trump has done more in totality than every president since Ronald Reagan.
That he has. I agree with that.
Like, you take all of George Bush, you take all of Barack Obama, you take Biden. Donald Trump has done more. Like, it's unreal. It's just like, I'm stunned. Every day I open up I read the news, and I'm just like ready to fall on my fucking chair.
And what stuns me is that he's doing it. I don't want to say for better or worse, but he's doing it to betterment our country, but yet political operatives fight him every step of the way.
Well, but you know what? Like, there's always been, someone described Washington, D.C. a long time ago as the argument that never ends. There were people during the Civil War that argued that fighting the Civil War against the South was wrong, and we should stop and let them leave. There wasn't like everybody was on the same page during the American Civil War. As a matter of fact, here's a Mark Milley comparison. The guy who was known for McClellan, who was known for like building the army, was not a big advocate of going after the South, and that's why Lincoln sacked him. Had to get rid of him. Then so McClellan decided to run for president because he was like Mark Milley. And everybody knew him and everybody respected him, but it's like, motherfucker, you got to fight. And he had to fucking Trump. Lincoln had to fire him because you're a peacetime general, not a wartime general. And if what was it? Was it Gettysburg? Was it? I think the Battle of Gettysburg was right before the election for Lincoln, and I mean, if they hadn't won Gettysburg, there's an argument to be made that Lincoln wouldn't have won re-election. What would that have done for the fucking war?
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, like people rewrite history that it was just all clean and clear and obvious. I mean, I mean, I don't know. Like, you tell me, like up there in Chicago or greater Chicagoland, does anybody up there really care that an ICE agent shot some fucking Karen
No,
that stuck her fucking face in somebody else's business? You know what? Like, yeah, we're
not
all
my crowd.
exhausted. Yeah, we're all exhausted. I mean, we're all exhausted.
I mean,
It's like, oh,
you're always going to get a few bandwagon jumpers, you know.
it's like, oh, great. So now what we're going to get now? So, okay. So this woman, so like, let's say the opposite happens. Like people do care. Like we're going to build a bronze statue to this woman. Say her name. Is that what we're going to do? Like
Yeah.
even if the shoot wasn't that clean, even if it wasn't, and I haven't seen all the video, but even if the shoot wasn't that clean, it used to be that, a lot of people in America would look at this kind of stuff the way you looked at a football game. And it'd be like, let's look at the instant replay. And everybody would be like, oh, you see the guy's foot. Is it crossing the line? He's within an inch. Is it good? Is it a score? Is it a legal shoot? Is it a not legal shoot? And now we're all to the point now where, like, if your ass is in the red zone and you get gunned down, that sounds like a you problem, not an ICE problem. Fuck you.
That's right.
Nobody cares anymore.
Like that guy, you can't cross the goal line.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see, not to,
Stuffed her, stuffed her ass at the zero.
yeah,
Stuffed her
he
at the
did.
one.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
dude, I,
he
dude,
stuffed her with the
dude,
one.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. If he, if he got 3 headshots on her, if that reporting turns out to be true, you know how like there was the Dickens drill? Remember the guy, his name was Dickens, and they never really showed his face, but there was a shooting at a mall. Somebody was shooting up a mall or tried to start shooting up a mall in Indiana. And this kid with a Glock, I don't know, like a 19 with a red dot, and I don't know if he's like in the food court or above the food court.
Oh, yeah,
He
I know. I
pull,
remember that very well. Go ahead.
he pulls out his gun and he shoots this fucking guy at 40 yards inside of a mall. And then, like, everybody on the internet was like, they're like, let me show you how to make a shot 40 yards. And they called
Yeah.
it the Dickens drill. I'm telling you, if this guy got three in the head box, motherfucker, I want his name and I want that on every goddamn competition. Like, I don't know, like the Sergeant Ramirez, whatever this guy's name is. Dude, if this guy who shot this woman, if his name is Agent fucking Muhammad, that's great. I don't care. I'd be like, oh yeah, man, the Agent Muhammad drill, fucking 3 to the head, like bam, 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 like fuck
Well,
yes. Like you set it on a mover and it comes at you, and it's like you got to get 3 in the head box, bam, bam, bam.
well, from
I'm
what
all about it.
all the videos I've seen, I'm sorry, they've only shown one hole through the windshield. Now, if he put 3 rounds through the same hole, then I'm buying that fucker lunch.
He didn't put 3 rounds through the same
I
hole.
know
Maybe,
that.
I don't know. I don't know. There's a few mythic you've seen. You probably don't know this, but like at certain competitions, um, there'll be there'll be a stage, and then there'll be a target where like you're supposed to put 2 rounds in a target, and they'll go up to score the target, and there'll be a hole missing. It'd be like, oh, dude, that's a Mike. He totally missed. You missed this target, and the guy's like, no, 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 they're both in the same hole. And they'll have this argument to the point where some people, well, they'll be looking at the hole to see if it's oblong, and they'll be taking like little calipers and trying to measure the hole.
Yep.
Like, did he really put 2 in 1 hole? And if you throw a big enough fit, maybe you can get your 2 in 1 hole, maybe 3 in 1 hole. The ICE, I don't know. ice Minneapolis or whatever.
So
I
did you see that we commandeered two more tankers today? Not one, we got two.
Yeah, we got the one that people were really questioning whether we're going to get it or not.
Right.
The
Well, they got
one that
another. Yeah, Hegseth was on later this afternoon and said we got another one.
yeah, there's this one that changed its name.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was like it was a Cook Island or a Mira. I would change it. I think it was Mira
right.
One, whatever it was. And again, I have actually, oddly enough, because I'm kind of weird. Like I've been obsessed with this Ghost Fleet or the Shadow Fleet, these tankers, for a while because of the sanctions. And everybody's like, well, why isn't Russia collapsing? The sanctions. Russia's going to run out of money. Russia can't afford to do this. Russia can't. How are they going to keep paying? Blah, 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 blah. Because of these fucking boats. And apparently, this one boat changed its name on the fly and tried to paint a Russian flag on its side, called the Russians, and the Russians put it on their registry claiming that, it's a Russian flag boat now. And apparently that's not legal. Ownership of the boat has to change according to international law. But people basically, this boat had sailed, left the Caribbean, had gone out in the middle of the Atlantic, where it's pretty hard to interdict it because you got to have other assets there to be able to do whatever. And people were like, it got all the way up off the coast of Europe, off Iceland. Again, Iceland, UK, Iceland, Greenland. And we grabbed it. And again, we're in a world now. The Russians were, okay, hold on. Here's another one. The Russians claimed, I don't know if you've heard this. The Russians claimed this is our boat. Don't touch it.
Yes, I
And
see
we're
that.
like, fuck you. This boat's on a sanction list and was tried to board it before, requested to come in for an inspection. And then the Russians said they changed it. It's ours. And the Russians claimed that there was a submarine that was escorting the boat. Did you hear that?
No, it's fun. It's ironic you say that because I think you don't think we had eyes on with our own submarine following that thing where it was
I
that we
don't
always knew where it was.
I don't know, but here's the thing. Here's where again, this is Donald Trump. So what's a submarine? Again, we don't know if the submarine's there. Maybe the Navy knows the submarine's there. A submarine is not really a good thing for escorting because a submarine can't. If a submarine surfaces, it's extremely vulnerable. Like a submarine is vulnerable to even just being rammed by a regular boat. Like submarines are not. They're not great getting on and off of them at sea. They're not good for escorting. People can't see them. They don't really know they're there. But it's entirely possible that Donald Trump, because we run subs all through that gap. We've been talking about Greenland ice in UK, Greenland ice in UK, Greenland ice. We've been doing this since 1945. Donald
Long.
Trump, we could have very seriously. There's probably been an order with the Navy. Like apparently they think the boarding party for that boat came from the Chesty Puller, by the way. The whatever puller that's got, but it's Chesty. It's named after the Marine Corps general. And it's entirely possible that the U.S. Navy were giving basically like a warning order. Like there could have even been a sub or other Navy vessels up there. If what's this Russian sub going to do? Is it if we try to board it, is it going to sink the tanker?
True.
I don't know if the tanker had oil in it or not. It would cause a big whatever, and that
It,
was kind of a big fear too.
he was riding really high in the water. He looked empty.
Okay, so he was empty. So that's good because that would have been a big fear. But it's like, okay, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to shoot at the puller? But then
Mm,
it's like, okay, but here's how Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is so fucking crazy. Donald Trump very seriously could have told there could be an attack boat that's up in the area that has swung into this area and is looking at a Russian submarine, looking at this fucking tanker, looking at the puller, and they have orders. And the orders are, if this boat floods a torpedo tube, kill it.
Yep.
Like, there could be a lot more going on right now. See, we used to live in a world where people de-escalated because we wanted to get back from the brink. But the Russians have been so aggressive for so long about everything because they're insecure assholes. That phrase patented by me, insecure assholes. That Trump is basically like, fuck off.
That's right. He's got nothing to lose.
I don't
Nothing.
like. I mean, Putin came for that state visit, and Trump flew a fucking B-2 bomber right over his fucking head.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
Like, and
did.
again, it's like people act like, but see, people act like it's like, oh, that was a headline, and then like Minneapolis is a headline, and then like Maduro's a headline, then the tanker's a headline, and it's like they're not separate stories. It's all the same. It's like
Oh,
everything is different now.
well, you've got that mayor of Minneapolis telling the federal government to get out. Did you see where Trump froze all kinds of government assistance to Illinois, to New
No.
York, eh, to Illinois, New York, California, and Minnesota because of the welfare fraud? He froze all the billions he froze. They're not getting anything. Nothing. And then the feds asked these various states, turn over your welfare rolls. We want to make sure everything's on the up and up. These states won't comply.
I've heard now that I've heard. I have heard that there are states that don't, and it's like there's an argument to be made. Like, wait a minute, like this is a compliance issue. Like this is just an auditing issue. What's the
Right.
auditing is not
HIPAA regulated.
unconstitutional or like is not auditing is not arbitrary and capricious.
Right. Right. Well, they're calling
Maybe
it,
auditing every day is, but like once a year, once a quarter,
well,
once ever,
they're auditing.
it's like
Yeah. Come on. Preschools with no students and now the big thing is for the Somalis to be flashing the cheese in front of, white Americans saying, look at all the money I have and you don't have anything. There's
I
a
saw that
bunch of,
video.
yeah. Do you see that video?
Yeah. I can't. I'll tell you what. I can't. I'm going to say that. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and we're going to go ahead and we'll call this one. I don't want to go forever, but I can't wait till Donald Trump goes after the university system in this country.
Oh my God. Oh my God. With those commie professors, trying to teach their doctrine. I would love at my age and my demeanor to go sit in one of these liberal professors' classrooms. How long before they'd call security on me?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, do you remember the movie Back to School? I think it was
Yeah, oh
Back to
yeah,
School with
with Sam Kennison.
yeah, Sam Kennison and Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, because MacArthur was too much of a pussy to
It's-
cross the whatever parallel, and paying those fucking Chinese. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I like the other
I
one when
like you. I'm gonna keep
he,
my
yeah,
eye on you.
yeah. And I like the other one where he's in the business class and he's like, "Well, let's talk about our factory." And it's like the guy's like, "Oh, wait a minute now." Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Like, what about the Teamsters? You got, yeah, you got cement. You're going to have to give them a little money. You got like if you, with the plumbers and electricians. And he's like, Mr. Mellon, maybe where the land you live, they do kickbacks or whatever, but in legitimate business, that
Yeah.
is not how things are conducted. And then the
Yeah.
professor turns and he goes, "Now where should we put our factory?" And Mellon yells out, "How about Fantasyland?"
Yeah. How true. How
Yeah.
true. How true. How true. How true. Well, anyway, God knows what tomorrow's going to bring.
It's
It's going to be
weird.
some. I'm still thinking, like I said, I've said it two or three times during this podcast. I'm still thinking Walz is going to lay low. I think he's going to lay low because I think that he's been already, you know, been told by the feds, we're going to get your ass.
Maybe he just wants to try to get out and be able to get a job somewhere. Maybe he's just trying
Well,
not to
no,
go to jail.
you heard what's going to go on, didn't you? The senator from Minnesota, Klobuchar, she's running for mayor. And if she runs and wins,
Or she's
that
right. She's running for governor. You
so for
mean?
governor, right? I'm sorry. And if she runs and wins, that leaves her Senate seat vacant, which she would make the appointment of Waltz to the Senate.
No,
Yes.
I seriously doubt.
No, don't be
Well, no, wait a minute. No, wait
surprised.
a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, wait. Oh, yeah, because she would be governor. She'd appoint herself. Because only the governor can appoint.
Right, and she would appoint Waltz to fill the remainder of her seat.
If Amy Klobuchar, look, here's my prediction, and I'll give you this one. Amy Klobuchar is always in the short list on the Democratic side to be president because she's not a complete wackadoodle, apparently. I don't know if she is
She's
or
a
she
big
isn't.
enough one.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently, whatever. Like, she doesn't act like one anyway. All these commies are the same. If she has any aspiration to national office, she may be like, yeah, Tim, do whatever. Yeah, well, of course. I've known you for whatever. Well, of course, you will be in the running. You'll be on the short list. And then as soon as she's in, fucking, she's gonna leave his text messages on red
Oh
because
yeah.
be like, there's no. If she has any hope, she's not. Because the reality is, he's probably not. His being associated with him is probably not going to be a positive. It's probably going to get much worse for him. So.
Isn't it amazing how you go from vice presidential candidate to janitor? That dude took a nosedive.
I mean, look,
And yeah,
objectively speaking, like I'm not being like mean, but like just objectively speaking, like he really didn't seem like he was an impressive person. You know what I
no, he
mean?
did
Like
not.
it just seemed like he kind of had this, this, like this quality of incompetence. You just like the Peter principle. People get promoted to their level of incompetence. Just like, why is this guy here? Like, look, I don't like Gavin Newsom, but I have no doubt that Gavin Newsom knows what he's doing. Right? You know what I mean?
Uh,
No, I mean, like, I may not agree with him, but Gavin Newsom has a plan.
yeah, for
Tim
himself and
Walz
nobody
seems
else.
Tim Walz seems like a dummy. I mean, he seems like a Tim Walz. Honestly, seems like a low IQ person to me, and I
Yeah,
mean that objectively.
he
He
reminds me.
doesn't.
He reminds me of Uncle Joe from Petticoat Junction.
He just doesn't. And it's like like, how does a guy like that, Vivek Ramaswamy, Vivek wants to run for governor of Ohio. He just got endorsed by our governor. And, whether you like Vivek or don't like Vivek, and I don't know what's going to ultimately happen with Vivek, no one's going to say that Vivek isn't like snappity snap, 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 like he knows what's going on. Like he's got a plan. Like Gavin Newsom, he knows what a plan. Like, the governor of Shapiro, the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania, snappity snap, he's got a plan. Man, Tim Walz seems dumb.
Yeah, he
And that
does.
doesn't reflect well on the state. And
Oh,
it's
come
like
on.
if
He
you know if you if I mean if Tim Wallace doesn't come out and if that state doesn't give that ICE agent a gold medal for 3 to the head, then you know as far as I'm
now
concerned, you all are useless.
I'm going to be following this the next, tonight and tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. It's going to
Okay.
be.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, you got it.
Well, yeah, they're calling for the crucifying of that agent already. So,
Oh yeah. Well, whatever. I want to use this phrase because I want to use it in the title of the podcast.
go
So you've
ahead.
heard of the DonRoe Doctrine, right? Have you heard them refer to the way Trump is doing everything as the DonRoe Doctrine?
DonRoe.
Have you heard this?
I did hear that. I did hear
That
that.
for once, I get to give the title of the podcast. This is going to be the DonRoe Doctrine on everything.
I feel
You know,
snubbed.
you are snubbed. Well, hey, I teed up a news story about a guy suing his ex-wife, complaining about how big his dick was,
An
and you didn't
NFL
want to.
player.
Yeah, we'll hit that on the next one.
Yes, we
So,
will.
but
Yes,
this
we
is the
will.
end. So, well, this wraps up episode 391 of the John 1911 Podcast. You want to see the stories or pictures, links of anything we discussed, including the DonRoe Doctrine, please go to the website at john911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.